It's beginning to look a lot like gingerbread cake. How you doing? I hope you're doing really well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a very exciting one because we are starting with the festive Christmas bakes. Oh yeah, cue Mariah Carey. So this video is very kindly sponsored by Breville. I'm partnering up with those guys to show you the amazing new Heat Soft Breville hand mix. I absolutely love this product. I've used this before in a baking video with Ewan when we made a spiced pumpkin cake and that went down a treat. Ewan was really impressed with this and he isn't even much of a baker. Genuinely, this piece of kit is fantastic. So when Breville reached out and said, hey Luke, we want you to create a Christmas bake to show your audience how amazing the Breville Heat Soft machine is, I was like, yes, I would absolutely love to. I'm so impressed with this. It's making baking 10 times easier because of the heat soft function. I'm going to be getting onto that once I actually start baking, but genuinely, if you want to check out this piece of kit, I would highly recommend you do. I'm going to be linking it in the description box down below where you can find out more about it and how you can get your hands on it. So as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be doing a Christmas festive bake. So I've made a bundt cake on this channel before and it went down an absolute treat. If you want to check that out, I'm going to be linking that down below. But today's Christmas festive bake is a gingerbread spiced festive bundt cake with a white chocolate frosting and crushed peppermint candy canes on top. It's just Christmas in a cake. It cannot get any more festive. I'm so excited to make this, especially being in partnership with Breville, which I've used for years. It's a really simple recipe, very effective results. If you want to follow along at home, the whole recipe is going to be linked down below. It's a recipe that I have tweaked and created to make it extremely festive for this video. Yes, before we get going, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. Don't forget to click that subscribe button as well. It's always lovely to see new people come along. Without further ado, let's get into Christmas baking. I'm so excited. Genuinely, this is going to be good. Okay, so there are a few things that you are going to want to do before you start making the cake in terms of preparation. As I said, I'm going to be linking the whole recipe and ingredients list down below. However, these are some things, if you are following along at home, you're going to want to do. First things first, preheat your oven to 170 degrees. I'm not sure if the gas mark, but I will put that down. I always work in fan because that is my oven. Around 170 is the sweet spot for. The next thing you're going to want to do before you start making a cake is acquire a bundt tin, or rather bundt tins. So I have got two varieties of bundt tin here. Both work extremely well. One is metal, one is silicone. I recently purchased the silicone one off of Amazon, and if you want to get a hold of this, I will leave it linked down below as well. It was like £7.99. Absolutely brilliant, does the job. Both do require greasing just because you don't want them to stick. However, absolutely amazing and got different results. I'm going to come a bit closer to the camera so you guys can actually see what we've got going on. This is the first bundt tin that we have, and it is a metal non-stick tin. I got this off of Amazon, funny enough, and it's got more of like a domed bezel shape. Very nice. I've used this before. This is a more recent acquisition, which is a silicone mold, so it's completely heat-proof, absolutely safe to use with food. However, the design is more of a spiral bundt, which I'm very excited to use because it's got the sharp creases, so hopefully this is going to turn out really well. Before you get going, I have melted some unsalted butter in a pan, and all I'm going to do is grab a pastry brush and just completely coat this tin. I just think it's always a good idea to do this and liberally coat it as well, guys, because you are making a bundt cake. The last thing you want is some of the actual ingredients to stick to the creases because you don't get a defined finish. So the idea is that you just want to really liberally coat each individual crevice with unsalted butter, or you can use spray. Cooking spray is always a really good idea. Just make sure that when you are doing it, you're being really thorough because, as I said, the whole idea of a bundt cake is that the outside is the display, so you want it to look as perfect as possible. Okay, so now the tin is completely greased. You just want to pop that to the side. So now I'm going to start with the cake batter. This is a very simple recipe, but it is packed full of flavour, and already the ingredients are out and it's smelling like Christmas. I'm so excited. So the ingredients you're going to need are 250 grams of unsalted butter, 220 grams of light brown sugar, 1 large free-range egg, 345 grams of golden syrup. You can use honey if you can't find that, but golden syrup does work perfectly. 250 ml of buttermilk, 470 grams of 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of ground ginger, and 45 grams of grated fresh ginger. And that is everything you're going to need. So using the Breville heat soft mixer is absolutely brilliant, and it comes in this handy case, which means you can store it in your cupboard without any issues of losing the implements or the cable getting stuck on anything. So you're going to want to take the 2 beaters. Obviously the main benefit of having a heat soft mixer means that you can bake even quicker. Obviously I know a lot of people do not bake because the time it involves, and you've got to pre-think, oh, I'm out shopping and I didn't take the butter out of the fridge, melting it in the microwave is a disaster. This saves so much time, so much mess. The heat soft function makes it really, really easy to blend and makes your cakes nice and fluffy, which is fantastic. In a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add 250 grams of butter that has came straight out of the fridge. I haven't had this softened. I literally just took it out of the fridge when I started filming. Obviously, usually bakers would be like, no, you have to soften it. But trust me guys, this heat soft function is brilliant. So 250 grams straight in. And then what we're gonna do is cream that with the golden brown light sugar. So we're just going to tip that straight into the bowl. And then with the heat soft function, we're going to turn that on straight away. So that noise is actually activating the heater at the end, which goes through the end of the beaters and starts blending and warming the butter. It doesn't melt it, it just warms it, making sure it's nice and easily combined. I'm going to start it on a low speed and then increase. It's always a good idea as well, even if you're using a stand mixer, with this, just to give the sides a little bit of a scrape, just to ensure all of the batter is nicely incorporated before you add the next ingredient. Once your mixture is nice and beaten, what you're going to want to do is grab your golden syrup and into that crack 1 large free-range egg. So I'm just going to do that right now, straight in. And then with my little diddy whisk, just give it a solid beat to make sure that's all combined. So into your butter and sugar mixture on a low speed. You don't have to turn the heat soft function on for this. It can be turned on and off, which is brilliant. You just want to combine all of your golden syrup and egg mixture. So now that we've added our golden syrup, the last 2 things that we need to do are add our dry ingredients, our fresh ginger, which I do need to grate, and some buttermilk. And that is literally the cake done. So in alternations between the dry ingredients, I'm also going to alternate between the milk, just so the mixture doesn't curdle. So I'm going to add the bicarbonate of soda and baking powder into my flour, which is brilliant. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, fantastic, and I'm just going to save half of that into the ingredients to begin with. And then I'm going to alternate that with just a little bit of the buttermilk. Starting on a low speed, just incorporate that, and then increase the speed to get it all combined. Add the rest of your dry ingredients, and the rest of your milk mixture. Okay, so now that's all of your ingredients in. The last thing we want to do is add our spices. So we've got a teaspoon of cinnamon and 2 tablespoons of ground ginger. I'm just going to add that straight into the mix. Saving all of the dry ingredients purely just because lumps in this wouldn't be great. So it's perfect. And then the last thing you want to do is grate 45 grams of fresh ginger into your cake batter. Now, fresh ginger is one of my favourite things. It's full of flavour, absolutely delicious. Plus, it just intensifies all of the flavours that you've got of the spice. Dry ginger is brilliant, but fresh just adds a whole different dimension. You could add stem ginger into this, crystallized stem ginger, which is also very, very nice. But there's something about fresh ginger that just works. Now that's all grated in, just grab your whisk and give it one last final stir. Okay, so now the batter is looking absolutely perfect. It's wonderfully smooth. The heat soft functions help me out massively. The batters are perfect, just a drop-in consistency. It falls off the spoon, which is brilliant. So now what's left to do is fill our bundt tin. Because this is a silicone bundt tin, what I'm actually going to do is pop it on a baking tray just to help it actually move it in and out of the oven. If I didn't do this, it would be really tricky and obviously would mould. So I'm going to go grab a baking tray and I'll be back with you guys in a second. Okay, so we've got the baking tray and the bundt tin is currently resting on there, which is brilliant. So now all we need to do is just pour the batter into the tin or mould, depending on what you're using. And because this isn't that much of a liquidy batter, you might need to just coax it around to make sure it's even in all of the spirals and crevices, because when this gets turned out, you want it to have a really clear, defined shape. Now, because this has baking powder and baking soda in, it is going to rise a little bit, so if you do have a lot of mixture, which is absolutely fine, so want to make sure that you leave enough room for it to rise. Okay, so now that's ready to go into a preheated oven at 170 degrees for around 40 to 45 minutes until it's nice and cooked and it is springy to the touch. If you pop a cake tester in and it comes out clean, you know it's done. So while your cake is baking in the oven, it's a good time to just prep for the topping. Now, with ginger cake, you can go to town on the toppings. Gingerbread cake is delicious on its own. It's delicious with a little, you could do a syrup, you could do a ganache. I'm going to do something really, really simple, just some melted white chocolate, and to zhuzh it up and give it that extra Christmas kick, some chopped peppermint candy canes. Peppermint and white chocolate is just two flavour combinations that I absolutely love. It's not to everyone's taste, you can completely customise the toppings, but for me, this is fantastic. So in a stainless steel bowl, I have got some white chocolate. Now the great thing about the Breville whisk, with the heat soft function, you don't have to do this over a bain-marie. You can literally just use the heat soft function on here without the whisk attachment to soften the chocolate, and then once it's all melted, just give it a little whisk and you've got melted white chocolate. So you no longer have to worry about bain-maries and double boilers and burning chocolate in a microwave. You can literally do it all in one piece of kit. So literally, that has melted that chocolate in about a minute and a half. And no need to use any pans, just the heat soft function, which is brilliant. Because you've gotten that airflow through the actual beaters, it's addressing all of the chocolate and it's literally just melted it to a perfect drizzling consistency. So the cake is out of the oven and it's looking brilliant. It smells so good. One tip when you are turning out a bundt cake, don't turn it out the first thing it comes out of the oven because it's kind of like still cooking a little bit. It needs to fully settle in its tin before you try and turn it out, otherwise it might catch. If I've done my job properly, which fingers crossed I have, this should come out with no bother at all. It may stick, which means it's not the end of the world. This is what I tell myself when I bake every time. We don't look for perfection, we look for tasty food. If it looks great, it's a bonus. So, I've got myself a fancy cake stand, and what I'm going to do is just pop it on top and turn it over, making sure that I've got the whole cake on there, which I think I do. And what you want to do is one firm tip, and it should be on the cake stand. The great thing about the silicone cake molds is that they are renowned for easy release of cakes. Obviously tins are structural, whereas this has a little bit of movement. It should come off, with the exception of a tiny little bit of sticking. That's pretty darn good. This is what we are dealing with, a absolutely incredible, dark, malevolently rich gingerbread cake. Okay, so now we've got the cake and we've got our delicious melted white chocolate, which is perfect to go. We're just going to drizzle it over. Now, because this bundt cake has the creases all along, we're going to try and follow that. So starting with the middle of the cake, I'm going to do a close-up so you guys can see what we've got going on. But we're just going to pour the melted chocolate down the sides. Okay, so the cake is done. Now the final thing to do is grab your candy cane pieces and just sprinkle them on top. Genuinely, I absolutely love the effect of this. I think it just makes it look really, really festive. You don't have to be too strategic with how you place them, just as long as they're all on top. And again, the contrast of the red and the white just makes it look absolutely as festive as it comes. And there we have it, guys. This is the finished white chocolate and peppermint gingerbread cake. It's not the prettiest, however, I'm sure it's going to taste delicious. Let's dig in. Okay, so I've just took a slice of the cake and it looks absolutely fantastic. I took a photo for Instagram. If you want to head over to @LukeCatleugh and @LukeCatleugh eats, the whole photo shenanigans is going to be over there with the recipe and everything else. Genuinely, guys, this cake is fantastic. It's lovely and tender. The crumb is fantastic. It's lovely and fluffy. Do let me know if you make the recipe at home by tagging me any pictures or leaving a comment down below. Huge thank you to Breville as well for sponsoring this video. As I said at the start, if you want to check out the Heatsoft mixer, then please do. I'm going to be linking it down below. It's absolutely brilliant and a wicked bit of kit. Perfect if you're going to make a purchase for anyone this Christmas or even for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Bye for now.